Hi there. We are going to be doing our project for the rhythm and movement principle of design that we are talking about this week. And we want to take a look at this ruler. You're going to be using a ruler and you're going to need to measure and you're going to need to make a straight edge. So I feel as though people haven't gotten enough practice with using a ruler, and you are going to be measuring every quarter of an inch. You could also use every centimeter. This is the inch side, obviously, 1 to 12 inches. And then this is our centimeter side. There is a little gap at the beginning of the ruler. So you kind of have to make sure that you are lining up the beginning of the ruler with the edge of your page. That way you have an accurate measurement. So it may be easier for you to measure every centimeter. It will be slightly fewer lines than it will be with the 1/4 of an inch. But whichever direction you start, put the little line even with the edge of your page. And then everybody knows where the 1 inch mark is, but you need to figure out where your 1/4 inch mark is. So this longer one in the middle is the 1/2 inch. These slightly longer ones are the 1/4 inch. So you're going to make a mark, preferably using a sharp pencil, every 1/4 of an inch. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 2, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 3, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 4, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and 5 is the edge of the paper. To make sure that you get everything lined up, you want to do the same thing at the top. This will make sure that your lines are parallel to each other. So 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 2, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 3, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 4, 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and again, 5 is the edge of the page. So once you get that done, you're going to line up your ruler, and you kind of have to figure out, like how to hold it so that you are getting it lined up. Depends on how sharp your pencil is. Obviously, this is not that sharp. I might want to switch to a pencil that's a little bit sharper. Line up. And again, if they're not perfect, it's okay. But you need to have like a repetition of lines, and the straighter they are, the better they're going to look, to do this. And I did not quite line that up. I'm going to fix it. There. After you get these lines drawn, you're going to number them, and then you're going to flip it over, and you are going to paint an abstract design with 2 colors, 2 primary colors, and black and white. You're going to be mixing those colors. So you're not just going to use 2 primary colors. You're going to be mixing 2 primary colors into secondary or tertiary colors. So when we talked about color, we talked about, your primaries, red and yellow make orange, as well as red, orange, number them, and yellow, orange. You should have 20 lines. Yellow and blue make green, blue-green, and yellow-green. And your red and blue make violet, red violet, and blue violet. There's my 20 lines. So I'm going to flip this over, and you're going to be using liquid tempera. So whether it's a squeeze bottle, whether you're pouring it out of a bottle, I have a couple in here, and I want to show you generally how much you're going to need. You are not going to need much. This is a very small piece. Yellow is yellow. There may be different colors of primaries, which regular red or magenta. Magenta is a pinker form of red. It's going to make a little bit brighter colors, kind of like in a printer, but you can also use red. You will notice if you mix magenta and yellow, you will get a red at some point because it is cardinal. Then there is blue and sort of a turquoise. They are both blues. I feel as though the turquoise makes a brighter green. I'm gonna go with bat and the yellow. On my tray, whatever tray you're using, I'm going to use my brush to just put a little bit of color. This is like the size of a dime. There's not very much here. And I'm gonna wash off my brush in between and dab it on a piece of paper towel to dry it off so it doesn't get all over the place. Like a little bit of blue, wash and dab, a little bit of yellow. Now, this is not the best yellow. This is liquid tempera. It will work, but it's this is very thin for some reason. So I'm washing it off over here, and you can already see in that water it's turning a yellow-green. I'm gonna put a dot of black on here. You do not need very much. This is literally the tiniest little bits of paint. And you can see like when I mix to wash off my brush, it instantly turns the water murky. So I'm going to start adding color to my card in an abstract design. You are not trying to make it look like anything. Just make an interesting design and take a little bit of your color, mix. I'm gonna get a little bit of water, and then I'm gonna drop my paintbrush. Oh, look. I dripped some on there, so I'm gonna turn that into a little design. Wipe off my table before I get it all over me. So that's more of a yellow-green. I'm gonna add a little tiny bit more of the blue, a little bit of water to my brush. See, it's darker. Wash it off. I'm gonna add some straight up blue, add a little water to my brush. And I still have a little bit of yellow on my brush, so you can kind of see how it's like a blue-green color. And you'll get varying shades of color by mixing through. I'm gonna add a tiny little bit of white and mix it in on here. You can mix it on your tray, or you can also mix it directly on your little project piece. So I've got my tint of blue-green there. I'm gonna flip this around. I'm gonna grab some yellow over here, and I still have that like lighter white and blue-green on here. So I'm gonna see like what shade I get. There. Mix that with it. So you can use it strength-wise, like straight out of the container, or you can add a little bit of water. I like the little bit of watery aspect, but that's just me, because I think it makes the flow look better, but that's up to you. I'm gonna mix a little bit of the black, tiny little bit, in with the turquoise here. So I've got my lighter shades over on that side. Now I'm mixing the darker values over here. Remember, again, we did talk about color and value, and you know, all those things come together when you're talking about principles of design. Principles of design build on what we were learning with the elements of art. So this is just an extension of what we learned during first semester. I'm going to bring this up because I think that it might look interesting if I make a shadow there. You know, kind of cool. Got a Georgia O'Keeffe kind of quality to it, I guess. Whoop, a little bit. So I like that. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to cut my strips. And I have a couple of other pieces as well. So I'm going to cut. Now, here is where I've done it both ways. You can either cut these all the way apart. That's why you numbered them. Or if you're very careful, you can cut to the very edge and just leave a tiny bit. And what I do is I cut from the bottom up for the first 10 and the top down for the second 10, or vice versa. So right now I started from 20 because I am right-handed. If you're left-handed, you can start from the other side, or you can flip it upside down, but I felt as though I should kind of cut and be consistent and let you see the numbers going this way first. So I'm going to cut over halfway, and that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Flip around, cut from the opposite way. To a little bit. Now again, you can cut these completely apart, but I kind of like to do it this way. I feel like it works out better in the long run. Now I put 2 layers together so that I could show you what to do. So this last one's going to be a challenge because I got big old hands. All right, so take these apart. No. So this is the one I just painted, and I did say let it dry, but I kind of ignored myself. It dries pretty quickly. So that's what it looks like now, and we're going to be able to spread this apart to make visual movement on the page. We are also going to make some actual movement. So on a second piece, I want you to do some just shapes. In fact, I'm going to take my yellow, and I'm going to take a tiny little bit of magenta, And you can see the orange that I get there. These should not be recognizable shapes. I mean, aside from them being geometric. But I kind of like the idea of circles. But that is just me. So I've got a couple shapes here. Wash out my brush and put it to the side. So now you're gonna have, I'm gonna set this over to dry. I'm gonna get rid of my paint, clean up my space. You don't need any more paint, you're good to go. You will, however, need some glue. Whether that's regular glue, whether that's glue stick, whatever glue that you have available to you. I'm going to fold this piece of paper. This is going to fit in my sketchbook. So I have a little bit of water on there. That's all right. You're not going to glue this in yet. This is going to go into the sketchbook right here. And this is going to be like an extra page that is going to bend. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my visual movement piece here, and I'm going to start spreading these out in a curve, and you can make them closer together. You can make them farther apart. How they curve is going to like be up to you. I'm going to start a little bit further up the page, I think, and bring this around. I'm going to use liquid glue, but you can use glue stick, whatever works. You do not need very much liquid glue, by the way. I'm just going to take a little bit. I have it on my finger. And I am going to start here at the edge. I don't know. I like to start at the edge because I think it gives it a little more interest. And glue does dry clear. Take a little bit. Now this is where having the pieces separate could actually work in your favor, but it doesn't bother me to have to sort of turn it. So you can put them closer together, you can leave them further apart. Gluing these down, and then this side that opens the opposite way, basically we are stretching out your design, and what it'll do is create the look of movement, because you're basically creating a fan shape, something that has a diagonal, and diagonals have the tendency to make your eye think that they are moving. So I'm probably putting a little more glue, or I should say I'm probably putting glue on more than I should. But I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna start laying down, spreading apart, and again, glue dries clear, so it's okay. It can go off your page, that is fine. I do want that to be a little more even. I don't like it so far apart right there. I feel as though I could even take this other one that I did cut, and you could even join those together to fill that space. But I don't know, that's me being extra. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna look